You know that moment when you're sitting in your car, engine off, keys still in the ignition, just sitting there? Maybe the radio's playing. Some commercial about a new SUV with only $399 a month. And you're doing that mental math. Rent's due soon. The credit card bill is ugly. Gas prices are insane. Here's the thing. For a lot of people, that car feels like proof. Proof you made it. Proof you're doing okay. The new car smell. The quiet hum. The way people don't look at you like you're struggling. But then there's this other feeling that creeps in late at night when you're scrolling through your banking app. Why does it feel like I'm working so hard and still not getting ahead? On paper, you're doing everything right. You show up. You pay bills on time. You just bought a car. A normal thing. So why does it feel like your finances are permanently stuck in neutral? My name's Jack. I've been obsessed with that question for way too long, and I didn't arrive here as some finance guru. I made plenty of normal decisions that quietly boxed me in. That's the scary part. Most financial traps don't look like traps. They look like milestones, like progress. And cars? Cars are the sneakiest trap of all. Nobody tells you this growing up. No one says that shiny thing in your driveway might be why your savings never grow and your stress never goes away. Instead, you're taught that upgrading your car is upgrading your life. Better job, better car, got a raise, nicer car. But what if the car isn't just a purchase? What if it's a system that quietly siphons off your energies, your options, your flexibility? This isn't a never buy a car rant. This is about understanding how cars interact with psychology, identity, and lifestyle inflation. Because once you really see it, you can't unsee it. Friends who make great money but are always stressed. Coworkers who get raises but stay broke. And weirdly, a car payment is almost always part of that picture. This conversation might change how you look at your next car purchase, not in a guilt-filled way, in a calm, oh, that makes sense kind of way. Let's slow this down. No hype, no judgment. Just an honest look at why your car might be keeping you broke and how to fix it. Let's start with something that sounds harmless. I can afford the monthly payment. That sentence has done more damage than almost any other phrase in modern life. It doesn't sound reckless. It sounds mature. Budget conscious. You're not saying you can afford the car. You're saying you can afford the payment. Subtle difference. Massive consequences. You walk into a dealership. The salesperson steers the conversation away from total price straight to monthly numbers. $320 a month, $420, $550 if you add features. They stretch the loan, 6 years, 7, sometimes longer. Suddenly that car feels doable. And technically, you can make the payment. It fits. If you squint. If you eat out less. If you delay saving until later. But here's what destroys progress. The payment doesn't exist in isolation. A $450 car payment isn't just $450. It's $450 plus higher insurance, plus maintenance, plus the psychological permission to spend more elsewhere, plus the silent killer, the opportunity cost. What that money could have been doing instead. You don't feel it. There's no alert saying you just missed investing $500 this month. You just don't build momentum. Savings stay flat. Emergency fund never feels done. I've seen this over and over. People making good money locked into fixed expenses that eat their flexibility. And the car payment is usually the biggest one after housing. Quick mental exercise. Imagine your car payment just disappeared. What would change? Would you breathe easier? Would saving feel possible? That feeling? That's freedom. And it's usually closer than you think. The fix isn't extreme, it's awareness. Understanding that every dollar in a car payment can't work for you elsewhere. When you see your car as a tool, not a reward, everything shifts. Here's where things get uncomfortable, but also more interesting. Cars aren't just transportation, they're symbols. Nobody cares what brand of fridge you own. Your toaster? Irrelevant. But cars? Cars get noticed. Cars quietly tell a story about you before you even open your mouth. From a young age, cars are linked to progress. First job, first car. Promotion, upgrade. It's the most socially acceptable way to say, I'm doing better now. So when someone buys more cars than they can afford, it's rarely because they're bad at math. It's because they're trying to close an identity gap. I've been there. When my income crossed a line I'd been chasing, my brain immediately went, cool, now it's time to upgrade things. Not because anything was broken, just because that's what success was supposed to look like. Here's the problem. Identity-based spending is endless. There's always a nicer trim, a newer model, a feature you didn't know existed until someone else had it. What makes cars especially dangerous is how visible they are. You might be crushing it financially behind the scenes, but if you're driving something modest, it feels like you're behind. Meanwhile, someone drowning in debt looks successful because their car says so. You start making decisions to keep up with an image rather than support your actual life. You lock yourself into payments to maintain a version of yourself that looks good from the outside but feels tight and suffocating on the inside. Once your identity is tied to a certain level of car, downgrading feels like failure, even if it would dramatically improve your financial situation. That's the wild part. Most people are too busy worrying about their own stuff to judge you, but emotionally, it feels huge. Like admitting something went wrong. Here's a quiet truth that most truly wealthy people learn. Real financial confidence doesn't come from what you drive. It comes from knowing you have options. Cars take that away when they're chosen for status instead of function. The fix isn't pretending you don't care about nice things. It's about separating identity from ownership. You are not your car. Your progress isn't measured in horsepower. And success doesn't need a monthly payment to be real. Let's talk reality math. Most people know their car payment. Fewer people know the total cost of ownership. Almost nobody feels it emotionally until it's too late. Say you have a $500 monthly payment. Add $150 for insurance. Maybe $100 for maintenance, repairs, and registration. That's $750 a month. $9,000 a year. Over 5 years, $45,000. And that's not counting interest or the fact that your car is losing value every single day. That same $750 a month, invested consistently over 5 years at 7% return, could change your life. Emergency fund? Done. Down payment? Covered. Financial breathing room? Finally. But instead, it's going into something that loses value and keeps demanding more. This isn't about having a car. It's about how much car you're buying relative to your actual life and goals. A reliable, paid-off, slightly boring car often creates more happiness than a flashy one that eats your future. Because stress cancels out luxury faster than people expect. I've talked to people who downgraded their car and felt embarrassed for about 2 weeks, then felt relieved for the next 5 years. Those relief compounds, the real cost isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in time. How long does it delay your goals? How long does it keep you dependent on your next paycheck? Once you see that clearly, the question stops being, can I afford this car? And becomes, is this car worth what it's taking from me? Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Cars don't just cost money. They shape behavior. They quietly decide how flexible your life can be. Cash flow is the oxygen of your financial life. When it's healthy, everything feels easier. You can handle surprises. You can take smart risks. When it's tight, everything feels harder. Decisions feel urgent. You don't think about building wealth. You're just trying to make it through this month. Think about how many choices get constrained by a big car payment. You hesitate to change jobs, even when you hate your current one, because you need that consistent income. You avoid taking risks, starting a side business, learning a new skill, even taking a mental health break. I've seen people stay in jobs they actively hate because their entire lifestyle depends on that income. And the car payment is often the biggest anchor keeping them there. At first, the payment feels heavy, then it becomes normal. You stop questioning it. But when something unexpected happens, and something always does, you don't have slack. A medical bill, a family emergency, a surprise expense. Suddenly, the car isn't just transportation, it's pressure, it's anxiety. What really hurts is the opportunity cost. You don't build savings fast enough to feel safe. You don't invest early enough to let compounding work. You don't build that financial buffer that makes life feel calmer. The fix starts with one honest question. What would my life feel like if this payment didn't exist? Not theoretically, emotionally. Would you breathe easier? Would you sleep better? Would you feel less trapped? If the answer is yes, even a little bit, that's your signal. Here's a dangerous pattern. People don't buy cars wildly out of their budget. They buy cars that are just slightly more than they should. It's only $50 more a month. The nicer trim is only $80 extra. Each statement sounds reasonable, but those small upgrades stack. And they don't just stack financially, they stack psychologically. Once you justify spending just a little more on the car, your brain applies that logic everywhere else. Well, I already have this nice car. I should probably get nicer clothes to match. I should eat at better restaurants. I should upgrade my apartment. This is lifestyle inflation, and cars are one of the biggest triggers. Before you know it, you're not just paying for the car. You're paying to maintain the lifestyle the car implies you have. I've watched people increase their income by 40% and somehow end up more stressed about money than before. Why? Because their expenses grew faster than their income. And the car was often the catalyst. The fix isn't to enjoy nice things. It's to be intentional about when and why you upgrade. Ask yourself, am I buying this because it genuinely improves my life or because it matches the image I think I'm supposed to project? That pause can save you thousands. Let's talk solutions. Calm ones. No shame, no extremes. First, detach emotion from urgency. You don't need to fix this overnight. Step 1, write down the full cost of your car. Payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, all of it. Don't judge yourself, just to see it. Step 2, compare that number to what you want your money to be doing. Saving for a house? Investing? Paying off debt? Building an emergency fund? If the car is crowding those goals out, you have options. Option 1, downsize the obligation, not your worth, just the financial obligation. A slightly older car, a less flashy trim, something reliable and, yes, boring. Boring is underrated. Boring is peaceful. Boring doesn't stress you out at 2 a.m. Option 2, extend ownership. Stop chasing upgrades. Drive it longer than you planned. The best car payment is no car payment. Option 3, wait. Pause the upgrade. Let your financial base solidify first. Once your savings are healthy and your stress is lower, then revisit the car decision. The key mindset shift. You're not giving something up, you're buying flexibility. And here's what people don't expect. Once your finances stabilize, your desire to impress others fades. Confidence grows quieter. You stop needing external proof that you're doing okay. That's when nice things become enjoyable again, because they're optional, not required. Let's zoom out. What do you actually want? Most people want less stress, more options, the ability to handle surprises without panic, time to focus on things that matter, freedom to say no to things that don't. And here's the uncomfortable truth. A nice car rarely delivers any of that. It feels like it should. But what it actually does is lock you into a cycle that makes all of those other things harder to achieve. The stress doesn't go away. The options shrink. The surprises feel scarier. Meanwhile, the car just sits in your driveway, slowly losing value, quietly demanding more. What actually moves the needle on your quality of life is having margin. financial margin, emotional margin, time margin, and every dollar you free up from an oversized car payment buys you more of that margin. That's what creates calm. That's what creates confidence. That's what creates the kind of life where you're making decisions from strength instead of reacting from stress. If there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this. Being broke isn't always about income. It's about obligations. And cars lock people into obligations they didn't fully think through. You didn't do anything wrong. You followed the script you were handed. Work hard. Upgrade your life. Signal progress. But scripts can be rewritten. Your car doesn't define your success. It doesn't measure your intelligence. It doesn't say anything meaningful about your worth. What matters is control, margin, options, freedom. The moment you start choosing freedom over appearance, things change fast. Stress drops, momentum builds, money finally starts working for you. You don't need perfection. You just need alignment between what you value and where your money actually goes. So take a breath, look at your numbers honestly, and remember, stepping back isn't failing. Sometimes it's the smartest move forward. Quiet progress is still progress. And the life you actually want? It's closer than you think. You just might need to let go of the thing holding you back first.